some kind of way out of here. Say the Joker to the thief. There's too much confusion. I can't get no relief. Businessmen, they drink my wine. Plowmen dig my earth. None will level on the line. Nobody of it is worth, yeah. No reason to get excited. The thief he kindly spoke. There are many here among us who feel that life is but a joke. But you and I, we've been through that. And this is not our fate. So let's not talk falsely now. The hour's getting late. Hey!
Purple Heart, so everybody calls him Hero. Then there's Lieutenant Hubert. Everybody calls him Hero.
All along the watchtower, Princess kept the view. While all the women came and went, barefoot servants too. While outside in the cold distance, a wildcat did growl. Two riders, one approaching, and the wind began to howl. Hey! Come on now.
Basically use it for on the LZ and I guess even out in the field too, if you want to know. Is we use the shotgun from a ball. You know, you just put the ball in the chamber and all. Paul, let me borrow that ball from you. I heard this is probably all SIDS and we're getting busted, but I don't care.
Shotgun.
What's happening here is also happening to some extent at virtually every other American installation in Vietnam. Recent surveys estimate that well over 50% of the soldiers in Vietnam use marijuana.
You get really stoned. Then, you know, who cares about the war? This war.
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish things that simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Understand what's going on around you. You are in a state of war, and you have precious little time to save yourself. process which we call active measures. The first stage being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. The next stage is destabilization. What matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. The next stage is crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, period of normalization. This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfilled or not. The time bomb is ticking. With every second, the disaster is coming closer and closer. The danger is real.
Hello everybody, we are live. And welcome to the show. Yeah, so here is I and War Spirit. We are here on this lovely day to celebrate upcoming Christmas, among other things. Just the grandeur of being alive is a wonderful thing. At least for right now. So, on this day, like, we have a few things to talk about. Like, I know there's someone's got a lot on their mind. You know, for example, the elections are rough. So, like, I heard from someone today that, like, the Constitution deadline is in December. No, I'm sorry, is in January. January 20th to be precise, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the election deadline. So...
Well, that's when the official decision is made who's going to be the president.
Right, the final call, what's going to happen, that so on and so forth.
Yep.
And so, if your entire existence is depending on Trump winning, then pray hard. Personally, and I think War Spirit shares this sentiment, be ready for whatever happens, and don't let this break your morale, whatever does happen, you know. America is an idea. America is more about freedom than it is about the land. Definitely more about it's more than the politicians that run it. And so on and so forth. So, a few opening things. Since it is our Christmas special, if you have any comments to add about what you want for Christmas, go ahead and put them on there. What do you want for Christmas, War Spirit?
All I want for Christmas is you, John.
I know it.
No, I don't really need anything. You know what I'd like for Christmas?
What's that?
To just be, just continue to be blessed in the same way that God's blessed me, as far as with the ability to have a job, to take care of my family, and that kind of stuff. That'd be
just fine.
That'd be cool.
Just fine. You know, I share that sentiment. You know, it's like, you know, I'm incredibly blessed just to be here. I think about the dangers of life every day, and I have a pretty high risk every day of what could happen, what should happen, that sort of thing. We might have a special appearance of IT tonight. I just got a text message.
Oh,
so
that's great.
That'd be great. I'd love to talk about Christmas with him.
I remember that guy. I don't know.
Yeah, like he's starting to fade away from my memory. It's like I could barely remember what he looks like. You know, I hope his Discord face, like if I want to do the Discord window, I hope his Discord avatar is appropriate. It's not just some like something completely out of this world,
like a penis or something.
I mean, I'm just thankful it doesn't show names on Discord. Well, actually, hold on, let me test that theory. It does. We might hold off on that screen then. Yeah. So anyhow, it's a slower day. There's a few things about COVID we'd like to get to, and a few things about just the show and like how much Christmas means to like me personally, and of course to you, War Spirit. Like I think we can really expand on that. Like, you know, something that always brings tears to my eyes, like once I get like in, and this is like the largest like spirit of Christmas like comes around. There's the old ancient story of World War I, where the Germans and the British and the forces laid down their guns for a few hours. That always tends to bring me to tears. Like, especially like if you studied World War I, like I did, like I was huge on it, and how sad it was is what kind of fascinated me about the First World War, because it was just kind of, you know, to each their own. I personally see the war as fairly pointless. You know, and that could be argued for any war, but that's just naive at that rate. So, you know, I look at this and I see two Christian nations, Germany and England, both with kings, very similar countries at the time. And, you know, for context, for the historically inept, no, the Germans were not Nazis yet. That was 20 years later from then. But, in World War I, there was a ceasefire called for a few hours. It was about, I think it was midnight of Christmas, officially, as the story goes. And and this is true. Like, it genuinely was. A German was heard singing across the way. Silent Night in German. And they could tell it was Silent Night because German Silent Night, would you believe it, has the same tempo as ours. And so both sides started singing along, and that's when like they saw a hat pop up and like somebody walk across the trench line, which would have been a very emotional and like scary moment. It would have been terrifying because it's like, what does this mean? Are they telling the truth? Is it a trick? You know?
Yeah.
And so this German, I don't know if it was a German or a British guy. It's actually, I don't think this is really recorded. It's theorized. One of the sides, somebody springs out of the trench with their hat off. And they both, you know, eventually start congregating out against orders. Mind you, the generals were not very happy about all this because they knew it was going to break morale when the shooting started again. And, you know, like they went up to each other. They showed each other family pictures, shared each other, like British people were like eating German treats and German people were eating British treats. And it was just a moment of like brotherly love and like the things that are to come. Like I often like to see like the returning of Christ as like, I mean, as scary as that's going to be for a lot of people, you know, in the long term, it's like, if I were to put it into a metaphorical image, imagine two nations who have been at war for their entire existence finally laying down their weapons in surrenderance to the king. You know? It's like no longer about each other, it's about the king. And to me, that always kind of breaks me down and makes me sob like a baby. It's a beautiful sight. And, you know, the Christmas, to me, is kind of, well, it's about the bringer of peace, Christ, coming to earth, God in human flesh coming to save us from ourselves, from hell. And to me, it's my favorite holiday. I know that I talk a lot of trash through the years about how much I don't really appreciate people trying to urge me to get to decorating my house and all that other stuff. I don't really decorate for it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, I've grown an appreciation this year. Like, it seems to be such an ugly year, and to see houses with like all these beautiful lights, like, it's just hitting different than it usually does this year. You know, like, it's just such a like, there's this piece about a street with Christmas lights all the way down it. There's just a piece about it. You know that? You know that feeling I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I get you.
Yeah, it's just this like peace, and that's kind of what the holiday means to me, is peace. Especially in like, we talk about war, guns, and all the stuff that are inherently, I suppose, unpeaceful. I don't get me wrong, I believe guns are, they're vital to secure peace. But it's just one of those things, peace, Christ, and gratitude. And we're very close to the next year, which means I'll have to make a new sequence for this video in the distant year of 2021. But yeah, War Spirit, like, you have any notes on like Christmas and all that it like kind of pertains to you, like?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, and you've already covered that. It's obviously the birth of Christ. And that's, the huge thing for Christians, for us Christians to celebrate this time of year. But then also just great time with family. I have really good fond memories of different things that I got to experience as a kid. Obviously with my family. Already covered that. For Christmas. Obviously. And it's not about the gifts. It's about those experiences with your family, going and finding a tree and cutting it down and taking it home and decorating it.
Right. It's definitely about, like, I don't think there's a more family oriented holiday than Christmas. Like, I know Thanksgiving is, but like, I mean, like, for my family example, it's like if I were to go out on Thanksgiving with a friend, like, to go to their house, it wouldn't be a big deal. On Christmas, though, that's kind of just like, this is about family,
Right.
And don't get me wrong, like, there's some impoverished souls, and I suggest everyone, if you pray for anyone this Christmas, pray for the people who don't have a family, who don't have that to go to, like homeless vets and homeless people in general and all that good stuff. It's also kind of what, like, Christmas is about, too, is like embodying Christ and feeling for those who have not, and giving, and that's all wonderful. And so another thing that we were talking about before the show, what would you say your favorite Christmas movie would be, War Spirit?
Oh wow, I got lots of Christmas movies I like.
Yeah, you're a Christmas
Die Hard.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I'm a movie buff too, so.
Yeah.
But Die Hard, and yes, we can get into that argument if you want to, but Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and I can prove it. But also, Christmas Vacation is a huge one, and has always been in my family, and like, it's one of those ones where you definitely have to watch Christmas Vacation every year. My wife hates parts of that movie, but she'll still watch it with me. Cousin Eddie's my favorite character. He's just that goofy, like, stupid redneck, like, that, it's like everybody has a Cousin Eddie in their family.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. It's like, I don't know if that's a bad sign, right? Because, like, I immediately think of, like, when you say, like, that Cousin Eddie, it's like, am I Cousin Eddie? Like, because, like, I can't immediately think of, because I can't immediately off the top of my head, like, think of, Eddie, like, in my family. I'm like, oh no.
That's a fair warning, folks. If you can't think of the Cousin Eddie in your family, you may be the Cousin Eddie in your family.
Right. I mean, I don't have, like, a 4x4 lift kitted, like, I'm not the standard redneck type. I definitely sway more on the side of class, but my redneck side overpowers far too often, Big ol' honking. Speaking of family, I really can't wait for this Christmas. I hope everything goes well and I can spend time with my folks. I've just, like, most people have family coming down. I look forward to seeing them, and with Christmas on the way, it's kind of like anytime this time of year comes around, like I gotta say, like it's kind of personal. I'm getting personal with you guys because you're my friends. You're my friends, dear listener. You're my friends. But and you're on the bus ride with me. So what I'm kind of getting at is like a lot of times, like this time of year would roll around, I'd be all bummed out because, oh, I didn't have a girlfriend, or oh, I didn't have this or that, and I'd just be like, oh, or I wasn't able to buy my mom this or buy my dad that. And I'd just be in this, like, rut where I'm just like, well, bah humbug, And,
right.
I gotta say, this year, it's actually, like, despite everything, right? Like, out of all the years to be happy about Christmas, this is the one.
Right.
Like, I'm probably poorer than any year before. The stimulus check has been withheld. So we don't even get that in time for Christmas. COVID-19 craziness of politicians and douchebags restricting our rights as human beings, not just as Americans anymore, but as human freaking beings. All these awful things. I mean, wars, rumors of war, bah humbug, all this terrible stuff. And you can sit there, and I used to be like that, like this, what would you say? Pessimist, I guess. Yeah, just absolute pessimist. Like, the world's crap, and here we are enjoying ourselves in front of a fire. Like, there's something wrong with us, like. Now, looking back, and I can't say I was ever that bad. I always appreciate Christmas. Like, I've always had an appreciation. And I've always usually shed tears because of some heartfelt moment. Say, like, the World War I truce or personal things in life. I definitely, like, if a present is, like, something so important, like, I'm that dude who might sob over a pack of socks, like, in gratefulness. And they're gonna be like, right. Dude, it's just a pair of socks. Like, I know, I'm so thankful. Because I do enjoy presents. Which is another thing, like, I would think, probably when it comes to Christmas films, my favorite, like, outright favorite Christmas movie would probably be The Grinch, just the original animated one. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with the Jim Carrey one, but I quite like the animated one.
I like both. Yeah, I like both.
That's what I mean, I like both. But
I gotta say, I do love Jim Carrey. I just noticed, my dear, you weren't properly packaged.
And it is a hilarious movie. Like, The Grinch live action film with Jim Carrey is phenomenally funny. Like, I know a lot of people give it crap. It's like, oh, and they give it all kinds of critiques. And I'm like, look, I think you guys' humor is just dead. Like, there's, like, you're beyond repair. Like, who hurt you? Because, like, that movie is freaking hilarious to me. As for deepness, though, like, on the scale of, like, deep, heartfelt stuff, I don't think you can really beat the, at least when it comes to Christmas, like, films, the Grinch animated. Just, like, towards the end, it just always warms my heart. And that's kind of the whole thing, It's like, his heart grew 3 times as big, and, and like, all the villagers, and this is what I love about it, is, like, that's the whole message, is, like, even though the Grinch was trying to take all the joy away from Christmas, all these little who's still got together and was like, do-re, do-re, whatever the song is.
Ah-hoo, do-re, da-hoo, do-re, welcome Christmas, Christmas Day.
That's beautiful. I love it. And I always did. Like, I remember as a kid always getting, like, emotional at that part, be like, you crying? No, shut up.
You got some in my eyes.
Yeah. Because I am a sucker. Like, I play this, like, hard act. Like, yeah, I'm a bad mofo. Like, don't mess with me. I'm a redneck, and I play metal out of my truck, and I headbang a lot, and I smoke cigarettes, and then at the end of the day, it's like, somebody puts... Yeah. Yeah, you know. I hope IT does join because I'd love to ask him what his favorite Christmas film is.
Yeah. So, what is your favorite Christmas as a kid? It could be like something that you did get, like a gift that you got that you wanted, like wanted so bad, or just an experience at a time, like sledding with your family, whatever. What is your favorite Christmas?
Probably one of the ones that I didn't ruin it, and I didn't ruin it for like everybody else, but to an extent, like it's like I ruined it for myself, like and I think like I could get into that, and that's kind of like for another thing. But my favorite Christmas, just right off the bat, right? There was this game, and I loved it so much growing up. It was called Destroy All Humans, and I did a Google search because I was like remembering it, and I think I was about 12 or 11 around this time, and it was they had a sequel to it that I didn't know existed because it only came out in Europe. It was like called like Destroy All Humans: Path of the Furons. Destroy All Humans is like a game where you're like an alien and it's a comedic like whatever. But I loved it. Like it was one of my favorite games. And so they have this game come out in Europe, and I looked it up and I'm like, Mom, because I was like so excited. I was like, Mom, can I get this for Christmas? And she's like, oh, I don't know, like in this, that, and the third. And there was a lot of like spookiness with me because like there was rumors that like European games don't work on PlayStation American consoles, you know. Right, so I was like, crap, you know. So I was like, uh-oh. And it was like a next gen, and it was like this big deal to me, like this game that no American really had heard of. And I remember like my mom being like, I don't know, son, yeah, it's, you know, I don't really like the name of that, Destroy All Humans, you know.
Yeah.
Which is fine. You know, if I was a parent in hindsight, I'd probably be like, I don't know about that, you know, but, so I remember seeing a box appear under the tree. I remember there being this box, the shape of a video game, because there was no other game I wanted. Like, I didn't want any of the $60 titles. I didn't want anything but that. Like, that was my big thing. And, I saw that pop up under the tree one night, and I couldn't help but, like, fascinate myself. I was like, wait a minute. Could that be? There's no way. I was like, there's no way. And I was all like, trying not to get my hopes up, but there's no stopping it. I was a giddy little kid. I was like, oh my God. And sure enough, Christmas Day comes up, and I go reach for it. And my mom knew that was my favorite gift. She's like, hey. She's like, open all your other presents first. So I sit there and I'm like, okay, so I open everything else. You know, I got like a badass wool shirt, like all this other stuff. I usually get a wool shirt every Christmas. I love that. Thank you, sister. That is like every year my favorite gift. Like when I turned into an adult, like, oh, button up wool shirts. I wear one of them I got for Christmas like every day. But anyways, yeah, that was my favorite Christmas. It was like I opened it up and it's just like the Red Ryder BB gun. I'm like, oh my God! And so like I ran into the PlayStation room and slapped it in and had the best Christmas ever. And that's pretty much that. How about you, War Spirit? What's your favorite like Christmas?
Well, I have a pretty close to real life Red Ryder BB gun.
Yeah, me too.
Story.
Oh.
So this was, how old was I? I was 11 or 12. And I had been practicing and shooting a pellet gun that I saved up and got for several years by then. And I decided, you know, it's time I need to upgrade to a 22 because we just moved from Bloomfield out to Blanco. Well, out in Blanco, you know, you can shoot a actual real firearm.
Right, and yeah, ain't nobody gonna care.
So my dad asked me, you know, what do you want for Christmas? And I'm like, well, I want a 22. And he's like, well, what kind? And I was like, well, I'd like, because I'd been studying this, right?
Right.
And, you know, because he had a lever action and a bolt action, but I found out this thing called a semi-automatic. And I'm like, yeah, I want one of those.
Right. I want a machine gun, a jackrabbit.
and so he's like, yeah, semi-automatic doesn't make you shoot any better, son. I was like, I know. I'll practice my marksmanship, because that was always, big with him, and which is a good thing, hey, just because you got a bunch of bullets doesn't mean you gotta waste them, you shoot your target. So but I was like, well, that's what I'd like. And he's like, okay. And I remember he asked me this. I remembered we was at um not Long John Silver's, shoot, the place that used to have the closed now. They had the buffet, but you could get meat and all different kinds of like cuts and like
Golden Corral.
Golden Corral. Yeah, man, I was having a brain fart on the radio.
I was about to say, I'm like, I know Furs exists.
So this was the old Golden Corral, the one that was by Hacienda. Do you remember Hacienda? Were you old enough to remember Hacienda?
I think so. So
that was a construction store.
Okay. Oh,
okay.
And
Golden Corral was next to Hacienda.
Yeah, that's what is that, 20th?
No, it's on Main Street. Basically,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's actually really close to where the new / closed Golden Corral is.
Yeah, Hacienda.
It's across the street and down about 2-3 blocks.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That place became several stuff after that. It was like a Mexican food place and then a Chinese food. It never like kept anything. I don't even know if there's anything in it now.
Yeah. I remember Hacienda like being closed down forever.
Yeah, that was a good construction store too.
Mm-hmm. Best in Farmington, I'd say.
Yeah, that's when that shut down. That was really sad.
Yeah.
That was years and years and years ago. But so it was in the old place there, and they used to have these booths at the Golden Corral that was like these huge, like U-shaped, and they were great for families because it was kind of like privacy, for your whole family, but you could fit the whole family in there. So we was sitting like at one of them, and he asked me, and then he's like, oh, okay, and then we went to Walmart one day. This was back when Walmart. Well, I guess Walmart still sells long guns. They also used to sell pistols and stuff too, but that was way back in the day. But he's showing me 2 Ruger 1022s, and listeners out there, every firearms owner should own a Ruger 1022. Trust me.
Right.
They are awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What?
I was about to say I actually grew up shooting a semi-automatic 22.
Is it a Ruger 1022?
Let me go ahead and Google real quick.
Google?
It wasn't a pistol. I know that much. It was a rifle.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, I had a little black rifle, and it was a semi-automatic, and I love that little thing.
Maybe it was Marlin. Maybe they make a semi-auto.
Hold on. It's probably one of those like esoteric ones or something.
But anyways, while you're looking that up, I'll continue talking to the listeners.
Please.
So he takes me to Walmart, and we're looking at the sporting goods. And see, back then, the Ruger 1022 had 2 different styles of stocks. They actually had a Mannlicher stock so the stock went all the way down the length of the barrel. And they had a Monte Carlo stock, which is more like a traditional, what you'd think of as a regular rifle stock. And he asked me, he was like, "Hey, which one of those like stocks do you like?" And it didn't even click on me. He was just, he's just asking, he's looking at guns. And I was like, I like this one. I don't like that one. It's got the stock that goes all the way down.
Right.
And he's like, okay, And I remember both of them there's a really cool composite stock. So it was like different layers of wood, and it was a light gray. Really, really pretty stock. And they were stainless steel. And so you know, one thing led to another. Christmas rolls around. I'm looking under the tree, and there's no rifle length presents under the tree. So, as a kid, I'm kind of like, oh, man. But I knew I was going to get good stuff. So, I opened all my stuff, and I was happy. And then Dad walks up to me, and he gives me this, like, little envelope. And I was like, what's this? So I open it up, and it sends me on a scavenger hunt. I got to go over here and got to find, he did clues, right? Like in the kitchen. We'll go to the kitchen and find one, find this, find this, find this. Ends up the last one, because I remember I'm like I guess I was close to like 10 or 11. I was like a 10-year-old boy. Well, 10-year-old boys, as we well know, aren't big fans of cleanliness sometimes. So it was kind of joke in my family that they had to like make me take a shower and a bath. So the last one was go in the place that you hate. And I'm like, wait a minute, place that I hate? What?
Mm-hmm.
And Dad's like, well, I got to make you take a shower. You got to hate that. I'm like, oh, okay. So right in there, and he had it like up above, like hanging in the corner above the shower curtain.
That is such a War Spirit family thing to do. That I'm just like thinking about that. I bet you do that kind of crap with your kids.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's like an Easter egg hunt for Christmas presents at your place,
Yeah, I love messing with my kids. Yeah. Or, what's really funny? Wrap a present under the tree and put a whole bunch of just crap in it to make it shake and rattle. Oh. But it's not really a present.
Sadistic.
And then put nobody's name on it.
So they're just like, what is
way
this?
Everybody thinks it's theirs.
That's pretty funny. I like that. I remember, like my folks have done some pretty funny stuff. Like I have gotten like a box, right? Like it's a big old box. I wonder what's in this huge friggin' box. I open it up. There's another box in there.
There's another box, another box.
Yeah. Eventually, I get down to the bottom, and it's like a necklace, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, But I got a kick out of it.
See, I'm sadistic with that too. I've done that before.
Nothing.
See, what I do is the first box is normal, and then the next box, it might have like 2 or 3 layers of wrapping around it.
Right.
Then the next box might have a half a roll of duct tape around it. And then the box inside that's going to have a crap load of zip ties around it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely bringing my my Christmas knife with me this time around.
Oh man, I learned that as a young boy and into adulthood. Of course, you should always have your pocket knife on you. But when Christmas time rolls around, see, you become the man if you are the one with the pocket knife. You're like, yeah, could you help me with this? Yeah, I got you right here.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting topic that just popped into my head. I wonder what Christmas would look like in a post-fall America. I think that'd be very interesting. Could you imagine like a community Christmas? Like not some communist bullcorn, but rather, I mean, like the entire, like, you've got a small set of people that live in an area and they all like gather around a certain area for Christmas, I think that'd be a lot more commonplace in a post-fall America. I mean, yeah, realistically we could do that, but there's really not much a point. It's like, why do I gotta buy presents for everybody else? In that time though, that's pretty much all you got.
Well, in a post-fall America too, see, there wouldn't be buying presents. It would be making presents.
Right, little trinkets, and I think that'd be pretty cute. See,
not only just trinkets, like so.
Guns.
I don't know if you've ever seen it or not. It's an old show, but have you ever watched Little House on the Prairie?
I've seen a few episodes, yeah.
So, the main character in that actually the person that wrote it, Laura Ingalls, actually was a real life person. and she really grew up in that time. They're really old books. They were books originally, and then later on, it was made into a TV series. But I remember watching that, and it was one Christmas episode, and it makes a lot of sense. So I think of what a post-fall America would like go back to is kind of like the Western days where you found out, like, say your wife was like really needing. It'd be more, and a lot of times it'd be more practical stuff, like a stool so she could reach the top shelf in the kitchen. And you guys didn't have a whole lot of stuff, and so you keep going back to the barn after you get done working all day in the fields, and she knows you're out there, but you can't tell her. It's like, no, go, you got to stay out of the barn. That was like this episode was pretty funny. Actually, I think that was what it was. He made her a little table. I think is what it was, like yeah, that's what it was. It wasn't. It was kind of more just for her. It was for her to put like her trinkets and stuff in, like her jewelry and stuff like that. But it was almost like a little makeup table. And so he would spend, after all day working in the field, then he would spend till like 11 o'clock at night working on this little thing that he made her. And so then the girls also, they made each other dresses, because they knew how to sew. So, each sister made each other a dress. And I could see something like that in a post-fall America.
Yeah. And that's just it. And it's kind of ties back. We often say this phrase on the show, how funny it is that tragedy brings us closer to God. And it's just a fact. Like, it's just human nature. While things are all good and fine, we don't feel like praying. But when things take a turn for the worse, hey, guess how close to going to church we get,
Right.
And so, going on with that, I hate to even bring that up at this far end, but what news topics did we have to like cover tonight? Did you make a list by chance? Check it twice. Find out if our politicians are naughty or nice this week.
What was it? I'm sorry. What was the question? I was having somebody ask me a question outside the podcast.
Oh, I was saying, did you make a list of notes and check it twice?
Of what?
I don't know, of like news or anything this week.
Oh, so no, I didn't really make a list this week, but I mean we do have a few things. So, the Senate had a hearing this week regarding the election fraud.
Uh-oh.
And they actually had several senators get up and talk about it on both sides. Of course, the Democrats, was like, oh, there's nothing, fraudulent about this, and it's just, we might have a few clerical errors, but it's okay.
Right.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's normal. It's a few 100 million here.
Yeah.
Even though there's like only 300 million like U.S. residents, and we got 400 million votes. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Yeah, it's like this astronomical like ridiculosity. Like, yeah, I know we got like 40 gajillion more votes, like just somewhere out of the blue, but there's nothing wrong. Like, it happens. It's just how bad Trump was. It's like, are you serious?
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
If you don't believe something's going on, then you need to start studying. And if you don't believe after studying, I don't know what to tell you. You're willingly blind.
So we had that. I particularly liked the and I'm gonna have to look up his name, the senator from Missouri. Let's see, what is his name?
Yeah.
His his speech, I guess, well, not really a speech, but basically saying that this is the biggest crime that has ever been attempted to be put on the American people in U.S. history.
Yeah, especially like directly, like when it comes to American, like Constitution stuff, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Oh, and also Mitch McConnell, for the Republicans, has come out on the floor and accepted Biden as the new president.
Oh yeah.
So did that Bill Barr.
Of course, yeah. It's like, oh, he's president. He's president. Listen. He's president.
Yeah, so I can't find that Missouri senator's name because I can't find it right now. But he come out. He had some really good stuff talking about like the fraudulent part of that, and then also he said he had people coming to him, his constituents, and letting him know. And he said, "Look, this is not coming from me. This is coming from law-abiding citizens."
Yeah.
But they said that if this isn't made right, he said, I was directly told that they might not be law-abiding for very long.
Right.
He said this on the floor, and then he said, take that however you want to take it.
Right. And that's a fact, and
yeah.
Pretty good on him for saying that. Like, seriously, and it's kind of funny because it was like somebody was like, it was really entertaining watching this, and I was like, well, that's how British Parliament is. Ours should. I'll be honest, not to say like rules and all that, because they're a bunch of, cucks out that way. But rather, I mean, like their radicalism, like they threaten to behead each other in British Parliament,
Well, see, it used to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, our guys had duels.
Yep.
Back in the day.
Something else they did
in the Senate.
Something else, and I was talking to a coworker of mine about this today, and he had a very good point. He said, well, you know what they used to do? Like, say, when the Constitution and stuff was written, they, like, would go in this building, and they wouldn't leave. It took, like, 3 days. They would just stay in that building, like, no food. Their water would be delivered to them, if any. And they wouldn't leave that building until they met a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Until they figured it out. And that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, why don't we just take these people, these politicians that are supposed to represent us, lock them in a hot shack out in Florida made of metal, and it's just like, listen, you can come out when you figure it out. Knock 3 times.
Well, you see, that's the biggest issue that we've had is they have created laws to make themselves more cushy and comfortable.
Precisely.
They decide, somebody I'm sure decided, like, hey, why are we doing it this way? Let's make it to where we can call recesses.
Right.
Because I want to be able to take the wife and kids to what's that bay on the East Coast, like near Maine, that rich people always stay in?
Antigua?
No, that's tropical, dude. I'm talking about Maine.
I honestly, I'm at a loss. I'm sitting here the only famous bay I know.
John Kerry's stupid face owns a house out there. Anyways, that bay out there on the East Coast where all the rich people stay, and there's a lot of politicians there. That's like, I want to be able to take the wife and kids there for the weekend.
Right.
And so they found a way also to make it a career. Politics was never supposed to be a career.
Right.
It was supposed to be you leave your business so to make it a career. Politics was never supposed to be that you created that was giving a service to the American people. You leave that business for whatever your term is, 4 or 6 years, depending on if you're the House or the Senate. and you do your service, and at the end of that service, you go back and you open up or you take back over your business from whoever you left it to.
Right.
And that's what it was designed to be, not freaking what's Joe Biden 48 years
Right.
in politics. That's ridiculous.
Right. There was, it was definitely supposed to be kind of like, not so much as miserable as like something like jury duty, but definitely something like it's an honor mixed with a sacrifice.
Exactly. And they weren't, especially back then, they weren't paid very much.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you,
you got enough to like feed you and your family.
Yeah.
And that was about it.
There's no reason, and I'm completely serious with this. There's no reason a politician should be richer than a doctor. None.
I agree. I agree.
That's a fact. And all these politicians, these congressmen, these men in suits that call the shots for what we Americans who work for a living do every day. They call the shots. They tell us what to do, how to breathe, what we can and can't do every day. They control how we can raise our children. And I'm sick of it. Like, I'm sick of these people who have been in here for 48 years.
That was one of the first that was one of the first laws, and I forgot who that was under, if that was LBJ or who that laws, and I forgot who that was under, if that was LBJ or who that was. That when stuff started going downhill is right around that era, they made a law that said whatever they can make laws that affect us, but don't necessarily affect them.
Right.
You see. For example, the Social Security system. They are not under Social Security. They have a different retirement plan.
Yo.
Also,
so if we can borrow,
go ahead.
So we can borrow from Social Security, which they've borrowed so much money from Social Security that me and you buy. That's why, like, if you haven't, like, do not rely on Social Security. Because, like, let's say that this country doesn't fall, that you're like 70 years old, it's time for you to retire. Social Security is not going to be there, and if it is, like, we're looking at pennies a week, like
right
Social
now,
Security.
basically, unless you're in your late 50s or older, you're not going to see any Social Security.
That's bad. It's really bad.
We pay in so that the people that are on it right now can still get it.
Right.
That's the only reason why we're paying Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of other ways that could have been handled. Also, originally, your Social Security number, they even come out, and that's how they was able to get the American people to be okay with it, was never supposed to be an identification number.
Right.
In fact, the old Social Security numbers, and I found pictures of it, and then I think one of my relatives has like one of our like great grandparents' Social Security number or something. And it actually is written on there, this is not an ID number.
Right. That's funny.
That changed.
Yeah, it did. It's just kind of spooky if you consider it. Would you like to go ahead and, in the grand theme of what congressmen do, go ahead and call a recess for a minute?
Okay, if you need to call a recess.
We'll call a recess, and we'll be seeing you on January 20th. I'm just kidding. I just need to go to use the restroom, refill my water bottle, and just kind of, let's try to wake ourselves up a bit. I think we still have a little bit to talk about, and we'll probably wrap it up a bit earlier as usual, but we'll get there. So, all right, everybody.
Okay.
All right. Let's see.
Check on
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. We did get an update. It doesn't look like IT is going to be joining us tonight. Bummer. I was really hoping to ask him on live. It's like, hey man, what's your favorite Christmas present? What's your favorite Christmas movie? Because I know he'd have some funny answers for us, but no, he's busy. So shame. Oh yeah, we were talking about like the whole thing in Washington, which yeah, it's still bad. Like if you wanted that summarized, if you're joining us after the break, yeah, what's going on in DC? Same old F all, nothing. So, as for like COVID-19 updates, it's still ridiculous. I will see about going to interview a friend of mine tomorrow who has the virus. Ask him how it feels, what it's like, what's going on with that, all that good stuff,
Ask him when you see him. Ask him if he really wants to hurt you, and if he.
So on and so forth. COVID-19 updates. I know that like the governor's probably got a lot more under her belt in her never-ending strife to become Dictator Grissom of Health. That's the only title that she could ever achieve. Being like, look how I was able to make this entire state just sit down and shut up. I'm so powerful and such a smooth talker. Yeah, her smooth talking is like sandpaper at the end of a really, really hefty fine.
Smooth talker. That reminds me of the movie My Cousin Vinny, where the girlfriends got this New York accent. Oh, you're such a smooth talker.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's it's kind of funny. If you didn't have any doubt in your mind that the Antifa / Black Lives Matter Marxist crowd was bought and paid for by a certain administration, well, now that Biden's supposedly won, where's the whole like Black Lives Matter? None of the laws have been changed. These officers are still running around, apparently, right? Nothing's changed. Mm-hmm. So, where'd that all go? It's almost like it was an entire scam to complain about who was in the White House and nothing more, to make it look like he destabilized the nation. He made the nation separate. Bull corn. That was entirely on the left. The left divided this nation. Nobody else.
Yeah.
Good.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm kind of at a lack of words with all that, just because it's disheartening.
Right. Oh, well, to put it in better words, and this was something I was looking forward to tonight. I was talking to you this morning, and the funny thing about it, because I was saying, be a good little rebel. Right? Like, that's my new phrase. I want to make a series called Be a Good Little Rebel. Because, like I was saying, like, you have all these millionaires that, because for some reason famous millionaires are predominantly on the left. And they fund everything leftist, like between Antifa, Black Lives Matter, communism stuff outright, Nike, for example, right? Like Nike shoe company. And it's funny because these people are like genuinely like terrible. Like they make these like shoes and stuff with Indian slave labor, yet they lecture us on like how awful working conditions are in America, and like they do all this like social virtue signaling crap, and they shove it down your throat. And then like once Trump gets in, hey, you want to be against the system, right? Says the multi-millionaire who is literally the system. I'll tell you what, go rebelling. Yeah, be a good little rebel and beat the hell and harass the shit out of anyone who doesn't follow orders. Be a good little rebel and despise people who don't agree with the narrative. Like, it is the most goofy shit. Like, I know that I've said shit 3 times, but, like, seriously. It is goofy, ridiculous, and silly. Oh, I'm the rebel because I'm doing what the television is saying what I'm supposed to do. Like,
right.
It's total backwards. It's flopped on its ass so ridiculously. It's comedic, and yeah, it's frustrating, I understand, but on that note, what a strange thing. Like, these people genuinely think they're progressing something, that their idea is their own.
Oh, I know something I would want to talk about. It's kind of a little bit off politics and stuff.
Good.
But so you've been on a diet, right? And you lost quite a bit of weight.
20 pounds or so I did, yeah.
Yeah, 20 pounds. That's great. What kind of diet was it?
Keto.
The keto diet?
Yep.
So explain to just our listeners, maybe for those of you out there that don't know what the keto is, like what does that kind of entail?
The keto entails a few things, and there's a few ways to go about it. So I've heard, just try to find a way that works best for you, but the objective is to remain away, like, from any form of sugar. And that's not just, like, literal sugar, like the sugar you see in, like, Coca-Cola, but sugar as in bread, candies, soda, all forms of sugar. Like, so if I were to simplify it, stay away from sugary sauces, like things that might go on your salad. It is basically no sugar at all. No carbohydrates, no sugar. Period.
You know, one of the hardest things for me with that is no ketchup.
No, that's true.
That's a rough one. So a friend of mine, he sent me some stuff today, and I guess you know who Dolly Parton is, right?
No.
You don't know who Dolly Parton is?
I've heard the name. I just can't think.
She's
of
a old school country singer. There always used to be jokes about her because she had like a big boob job.
Oh, okay.
So she actually went made this Dolly Parton diet, and a friend of mine, Joe, we'll just call him Joe, recently went on it, and it really made Jolene.
All of that. All of that. You come in my show and ask me to talk about dieting, which was something I was very passionate about.
Yeah.
You come in my effing show.
Yeah, I've been planning that all day.
Oh, that was freaking atrocious. That's egregious, dude. Nuremberg Trials V2, dude. Let's go.
I saw that on Facebook today, and I'm like, how can I put that into the show? Ooh, I know how to put that into the show.
I thought it was rather random. I'm like, why are you asking me about dieting? I was about to ask, where are you going with this?
Yeah. We're
Dolly Parton. Is that a real thing? Like, is that a real person?
Yeah, she's a real.
Okay.
Look her up, dude.
All right. I'll refrain for now, but dude, that was pretty bad.
In the day, there always used to be boob jokes about Dolly Parton because, like, yeah, she had a pretty big rack, like, and they were fakies, but she actually was proud of it. She's like, yeah, they're fake. Like, okay.
Real country type beat.
Yeah. She made a theme park called Dolly World or Dollyland or something like that.
Yeah.
That's like somewhere southeast, back down in the south. I think Georgia or somewhere like that.
Okay. It's pretty atrocious, dude. I'm still like in awe.
And there really is. She sings a song called Jolene.
I know. I've heard the song.
That's Dolly Parton.
Okay, well that's good to know. So going on with that. You know, at least I know with you, War Spirit, getting information from somebody, say we had to interrogate someone, wouldn't be hard. Leave them 3 hours in the cell with you and your dad jokes. They'll be screaming like nothing.
I'm ready to talk.
You're gonna sit there and be like, "You ever smell up, dog?" You're just gonna start like screaming, like, "No!"
I'll soften them up by doing like on The Walking Dead. I'll just play a freaking just random song on loop for like a couple days straight.
That's what they did, Guantanamo Bay folks. Yeah, they did that to them. Britney Spears was one of the songs the CIA used against the Taliban.
I can see that working.
Yeah, "Hit Me Baby One More Time" specifically. Yeah. Fun fact. Yeah, they would lock this dude, this little Sandman. They'd lock him in a room with loudspeakers blaring "Hit Me Baby One More Time," sometimes for a week on end. If that wouldn't break a man.
Maybe by a week it would, but like maybe because I'll be the first to admit I'm weird. It wouldn't really bother me. I'm like, it's just ambient noise.
Like here, like for Americans, like we're inundated and surrounded by like media and sound all of the time.
Yeah.
Imagine being this sandy dude who has barely heard like the clank of a scimitar against an oil drum as music.
Yeah.
And these white dudes come in, lock you in a cellar because you blew up a tank or something. And all you can hear is this woman all anti. What's the? Because like Jews are like kosher. What's the Muslim one?
Infidel?
No, like Muslims, like like.
Oh, halal.
Yeah, halal or whatever. So like this woman screaming halal and all this other stuff. That'd be good.
You talking about scimitar reminds me about. Did you hear about the knight that asked the girl out? Right. She turned him down.
What happened?
She said she didn't date middle-aged guys.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's my problem. So we've devolved into the Christmas special of jokes, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, I did the bloop to Ever the other day.
Oh, no, did you?
I did. We were playing Cyberpunk, see?
So,
yeah, we'll have to do the bloop, like, on the show. We'll have to keep it, like, going. Like, we'll have to introduce it, like, as a concept.
Yeah. I won't talk about it then. We'll have to talk about more about the Ever one off air.
Yeah.
But
as for the show, like, I mean, it has kind of come to a stall, I think. But I mean, I've enjoyed this show. Like, Christmas and all that is always fun. Like, I love Christmas and the family, all that good stuff.
I want to leave you guys with one last joke.
By all means.
John, us talking about dieting made me think, I'll never get down to my original weight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 6 pounds, 3 ounces.
It's like, for a baby?
Yeah, it was my original weight.
Technically, I mean, if we want to be original, it's like, well, how much does a sperm cell weigh in the balls? That's a good question.
Well, I'll be right back. I can go weigh that. Might take a minute.
Might take a minute. Hey, wife! I need you to do me a favor.
Can you help me
out? Get the scale out. Get the scale out. We got to do a count.
It's for the show.
Oh, that's good.
Normally I wouldn't ask such things, but
yeah. So I'd say we've come to a screeching halt with the show.
Yep. Why don't you go ahead and pray?
All right. Yeah. Since I forgot to pray on the way in, thank you, Lord, for bringing us all together tonight, Lord. I pray for our representatives in D.C., Lord. I pray that they come to an understanding, that they find out something, Lord, and whatever they do, decide that it represents you, Lord, and your will. Lord, bless our Christmas week, Lord. Bless my weekends. Keep me safe as I go out, Lord, and just bless my travels and bless my family's travels, Lord. Keep them safe and in your arms. I pray for War Spirit's family, Lord. I pray that his family has a Merry Christmas and nothing sad happens. I pray for their dog. I hope he is freed from the prison. Lord, thank you for just everything you continue to do. Continue to keep us in your graces, Lord. I pray for the country. And I pray for nations far and wide. I pray, Lord, for a peaceful Christmas. I want to see miracles happen, and I believe they will. Through your undying grace, Lord, in your mighty name, amen.
Amen.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us this wonderful evening. Let me go ahead and get things rolling. Let's see here. So, you really like the Christmas... what's that one film?
Christmas Vacation?
Yeah! I really,
are we still on
yeah,
air?
we're still on air.
Okay.
I'm just loading up some copyright-free music here.
I thought maybe people, because you've already said the SH word, so it doesn't matter. Shitter was full! Favorite scene in Christmas Vacation. What are you looking at, Clark? The calm of a winter's morning. The beautiful gaze of snow. An asshole in his bathrobe emptying a chemical sewer into sewer into our sewer. Shoot. What is it? Oh, into our storm drain.
Well, a Merry Christmas to all. And to all a good night as we remember the birth of our Savior, Lord Jesus Christ, in these most wonderful, peaceful times. Stay hopeful and stay safe, everyone. God bless and good night.
Bye-bye.
The first Noel, the angel did say, was to certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay, in fields where they lay keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so